So I simply navigate to where my report was delivered. Here I'm using Dropbox Cloud Storage, and you can see all of the reports available as PDF files. I just click on this one here, and you can see a beautifully formatted operational report that was just distributed from our new reporting service available in Qlik Application Automation. Now, how sexy is that? Hey guys, this is Mike Tarallo with Qlik, and today I'm here to introduce you to yet another fantastic innovation, our new Qlik Reporting Service. This initial release of the Qlik Reporting Service provides multi-channel, multi-page report output distribution and delivery of QlikSense insights to your organization. Not only has the Qlik Reporting Service been made available as a public API, so you can programmatically customize your report delivery experience, but it has also been integrated as a set of new Qlik Cloud Services connectors in Qlik Application Automation, allowing a no-code visual approach to including report and insight delivery into your automated business processes. Let me jump into a demonstration to show you a couple of use cases you can address with this initial release. Okay guys, I have some really exciting stuff to show you, so this video is going to be a little bit longer than usual, but I encourage you to stay to the end to see all of the tips and tricks on how this stuff works. The first part of this is just going to be a quick, just show me how it works. Just skip all the detail and just show me how it works. So within Qlik Application Automation, we have new connector blocks, and you can see in addition to the Qlik Cloud Services connectors that connect you to your QlikSense SaaS tenant, we also have the Qlik Reporting category, which has a number of connector blocks that do a particular task. Now, as I mentioned, these tasks are also exposed as a public API. I'm not going to get into the public API, but this provides a number of functionalities that API offers. So we have our start block, and you can always refer to our other Qlik Application Automation videos for more information on all of this stuff. But in this case, we are just going to do a quick manual execution of this. You can schedule it, can be triggered, can be also accessed through a webhook. Also understand that this is adding report delivery and distribution to your business process workflows. Okay, this is not just how we schedule or distribute reports. We have that built into QlikSense today within the client. We can touch on that later. So just to draw a distinction as to what this offering is. Okay, and I mentioned it in the introduction as well. So we have a create report connector block, and this connects to my QlikSense tenant and allows me to access the apps, and I give it a name, and we'll go through a build process of this in the second part. I'm going to select a sheet. In this case, we have add sheet to report, and then we have the generate report, which is responsible for creating this initial release, a PDF document, and then we are going to take that document and distribute it to a cloud storage location, in this case Dropbox. That's it. So I'm just going to click on run. We can go into the chronological tab to see the steps that are being executed. And then I'm just going to quickly go to Dropbox, and what you're going to see is one of the reports pop up, and there it is. You can see it's got a dynamic name, and there's the date and time. I click on this PDF, and we have that beautiful operational report. Okay, so that's the gist of this. So going back to Qlik Application Automation, you could insert conditional blocks, you could insert basically any of the other connector blocks, control blocks to create a flow that meets your needs when a particular process happens within your business. We can create bursted reports. I can send them to email. Okay, so that's just quickly showing you how it works. Now, part two, we're going to go into actually building it and kind of putting all the pieces together. Okay, so in this part now, I'm going to show you a complete build from start to finish. But before we do that, here is that report that I showed a moment ago. So this is the report distributed to Dropbox, and this is what the report looks like in the QlikSense app. So a best practice, first of all, is formatting your QlikSense sheet to accommodate the output that you desire. In this case, I like the 8.5 by 11 portrait output. So I adjust my settings, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. But that's an important best practice to understand, is when you're laying out your objects, your charts, your titles, to adjust them appropriately. Another tip is that when you are designing your report, you can always export your sheets. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have other ways of exporting and distributing through the client. You have an option here to download sheet as PDF. By doing that, you can select your paper size, here 11 by 8.5, select portrait, and scale, in this case fit to page. When this generates, it'll create a PDF document which is generated by the engine, similar to the way application automation will do. So you'll get an idea of what it looks like before you actually go through the build process within your workflow. And there's your PDF document. So that's what it's going to look like once it's distributed. Okay, so you have an option there. And the other piece that I mentioned earlier is that you can take your objects and you can click on share. If you select image, you have the ability to send to a recipient's email as well. And then there's also the ability to subscribe to a sheet. And by subscribing to a sheet, you will get this output sent to you via email. And you also can add users that are part of a public sheet that are part of this particular space as well, so you can distribute to them. So keep those options in mind. Again, the reason I bring this up is I don't want others to just think that we only distribute report content with application automation, because that is not the case. Again, application automation with the built-in report service connectors allows you to add that report distribution and delivery for a variety of different use cases to your business processes. Okay, now that those tips and tricks have been sent, let's create our new sheet. So what I'm going to do is click on Edit Sheet, and we are in an example here, just to show you the name of the report. It's called RS Report Example. So this is a ClickSense app. We're going to go to Sheets. I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to drag it, and we're going to rename the sheet RS Demo Report. And now we're going to edit the sheet. Now, as part of that best practice, pay attention to where my mouse cursor is. The properties of the sheet. Grid spacing is wide. Sheet size will be custom. Now, the width in pixels, you can look it up, but the actual size of an 8.5 by 11 in portrait is about 2480 wide, and height is about 3500 wide. Okay, that will give you the structure or the format or the layout that you need for your particular objects that will be formatted in that 8.5 by 11 portrait. Now, to streamline a couple of things here, instead of creating charts and adding data, all that stuff's in this, I created some master item visualizations that are basically pre-canned chart objects that have already been configured, so I can just lay them out, because this is what you really want to see, the quick layout and then the distribution. So I have a title. I'm just going to drag that here, and then I'm going to adjust these appropriately. Let's grab our logo. Now keep in mind, you have the full width of the page. And now I'm going to grab my chart object. So let's do a network chart. And let's grab the network title or the information regarding that chart. Okay, so that's the layout that we have. I'm not going to continue with it all because you kind of get the idea. I could actually go into the settings of the sheet and it'll support the styling here. So if we wanted to add a logo in the title or change the colors, let's change that color to a little bit different. And there is your sheet. Now, as I mentioned, we can export this as a PDF. Here I'm changing the paper size and the portrait. Okay, there's our report. I'm happy with it. Now we're done. So once you design the layout and the formatting of your report, this is going to be available to Qlik Application Automation. So now we're going to go to Qlik Application Automation, and I'm going to create a new automation. We'll start from a blank automation template. We'll call this one RS report example 2. And now we have our canvas. I'm going to go to my Qlik reporting service blocks. And then the first thing we need to do is create report. My app ID, we're going to do a lookup. And I'm going to search for RS. And there is the RS report example. That was the name of the app that we edited in. Now the report name, it says RS report example. I'm going to make it dynamic. So I'm going to add a formula. So let's put a dash there and then click add formula, date functions. And we're going to select date. The time and date, we're just going to use now. And the output format's going to be DMY-S. That'll give me day, month, year, seconds. And click save. Now for sheets, you can say all the sheets that are in there and it'll create a page per sheet. In this case, we're just going to select custom. Then we're going to select add sheet to report. And now we're going to do a lookup on those sheets. And there are the sheets that are available. I think we call this RS demo report. Yes, we did. And then we're going to generate report. Now I'm going to go back to my list of blocks and I'm going to look for what's called copy file. And then the source file in this case is going to be the output of generate report. And then the destination connector, you could have a number of different connections to either SFTP or FTP or other storage. In this case, just Dropbox. Now my connections have already been set up. I'm going to select this connection because this is the one I'm using for the demonstration. Settings, we're just going to leave the on error for stop. And then the destination file path, as you can see here, if I go back, /report, /report. And then we want this to be dynamic. So what we're going to do is use the output that has been generated from the report, and we want to use the path. And then we click save. So now when this runs, it'll use the path and the output and create a dynamic name for our report. So let's click run. And you can monitor these steps, but it's more fun just to watch this refresh. So we'll stay in our Dropbox until we see the actual PDF pop up. And there it is, RS report example, 12/8/21/40. We click that, and there is our report. So other than just formatting and spacing the objects appropriately, you now have a nice operational report utilizing the insights collected within your Qlik Sense app. Okay, so the next part, I'm going to go through a little bit more advanced use case where we're going to now distribute or burst a particular report based off of a particular category or region and send it to an appropriate distribution list. Okay guys, so you're going to be really excited when you see the resulting output of the next Qlik application automation and report service demonstration. In summary, we're bursting reports from different regions to the different managers. And each report is multi-page that contains a summary for that region, as well as the individual managers that are in that region and their performance stats. So multi-page PDF output bursted. We're writing them to cloud storage, in this case Dropbox, and we're also distributing them via email with attachments. So here we have one for Spain, and then here we have one for Germany, Japan, Nordic, UK, and USA. And you can see the outputs here. So that's the resulting output, similar to what I showed you earlier. Now, here is the Qlik application automation that is using a combination of Qlik Cloud Services connectors and Qlik reporting connectors, as well as some of the other flow control, send mail connectors, conditional connectors, etc. So to walk you through this, we have our start block. We're just going to run in manual mode. Then we're going to use list values of field, and we're going to connect to the sales and margin app. So just to correlate the two together, I have an app here, and we have two sheets that are dedicated in this app. The sales and margin tracking app has a sales A4 report output, which has the summary. Little tip right here. You can see we're using a title object, and then we're using get field selections in the formula to basically give you that dynamic region name in the report. And then we also have the manager summary report. And we're doing the same thing for the sales manager title. So what you need to keep in mind is that Qlik Application Automation and the report service connectors are going to simulate or apply selections to the sheets, to the field values, to generate that report output that we're going to distribute. Okay, so now that you have that correlation between the QlikSense app, the visualizations, and the sheets, list values, in this case, connects to that app, and we're going to just get the values of the region field. And then for each value within the region field, we're going to perform some steps. So quickly, if I just jump over to the history, you can see that we have our field value pairs that come back from the output of the steps: USA, UK, Nordic, Spain, Germany, etc. So for each of those values, it's now going to generate this report. So the create report block, once again, we select the app that we're going to be getting the content from. We're giving it a name, sales and margin tracking, and then we're using the field value pairs, in this case dynamically. It's going to give the report name with the region value and the date. And you can see that here actually in the Dropbox cloud storage. Now we're going to add a sheet. And in this case, sales A4 report output, which correlates back to this sheet. And now we're going to apply the selection to that sheet. That's going to be the field value for the field name region. And then we're also going to be selecting the field name manager region because we want to apply the manager for that region. So that selects that field value. And then we're going to use what's called get straight table data, because in this case, we actually have the email addresses as part of this app. And this is just to simplify for demonstration purposes. But you can see we have a table that has the manager region, the manager name, and the email addresses associated with those managers. And we're using this just to simulate a distribution list. The nice part about utilizing the Qlik Cloud Services connectors is it can take advantage of any of the data in the app. So wherever that data is being pulled from within QlikSense, you can actually just now pull it together from the straight table data or any of the data elements that are available in the QlikSense app. So as you can see here from that app, from the sheet ID named manager region email master, we're pulling in that data from the object or the straight table. Now for each row that it encounters in that straight table, select the manager name and the field value. I would like you to now add a new sheet to the report. So if we go to Qlik Reporting, you can see add sheet to report, which is another Qlik reporting service. So now it's going to add the manager summary. This is how it's creating that multi-page PDF output. And the selection that we're going to add to the report is the manager. Now we're using this to create a list of email addresses that would be used within the to of the sendmail block. So this is just basically appending variables to a string that we're going to use as output just for purposes of the demonstration. So it's going to grab those email addresses and create a list of email addresses for that manager in that region. And then the output block is just so you can visually see it. Here it's just going to write the email addresses so you can see the email addresses that would have been used if it was put in the send block. And then finally we generate that report, and then we send that mail. Now for to, I'm just using a mock email address. We have our subject, we have our body, we have an attachment, which is the output of the generate report. And you can see we're just using that appended email list that is simulating if emails were sent to that individual. Now we're also writing the output to the report path. And then finally, we unlock the selections and clear out the variable list just for the next one. Okay, so let's check it out. So what we're going to do, let's delete all of my reports in Dropbox. And let's delete all of the email. And let's execute this. Okay, so our task has completed, and you can see that we have our 6 reports: Germany, Japan, Nordic, Spain, UK, and USA. We also have our 6 emails, and you can see in the body of the email addresses are different for the different regions. Again, just for demonstration purposes. Proving it is dynamically applying the selections and creating those reports, and sending them to the appropriate email addresses. And the output block also shows you that information as well. Okay, thank you for your time, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me. This concludes the demonstration. I hope you found it helpful. You are now armed with the know-how to use ClickSense SaaS and Qlik Application Automation, along with the new Qlik Reporting Service connectors, to create multi-page report output distributed to multiple channels as part of your business processes. If you want to see more video content like this, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next one. Stay tuned at the end of this video for some additional videos to watch, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.